Welcome to the Bulletproof Podcast. This episode is not for watching, it is for listening. So please go for a walk, take a hike, drive your car, or if you're lying down, just stretch. At least stretch in your bed. You know what to do. You can do it. Do it. All right. With that being said, in this episode, also check the Bulletproof link tree description down below. You're going to find a recovery app that I've literally created. It's on the App Store right now. You can download it. There's also free videos on recovery in there too, as well, in the school community. With that being said, this episode is what an addict can do, maybe must do, should do on their recovery journey. And how do we know this? Well, if you go to AA, you go to rehab facilities, they're going to have and talk about these things. And the purpose of that is you don't hear about them maybe until you go in there. You don't hear about them from school. You don't hear about them when you're a teenager, young adolescent, you're an adult. You don't hear about these things, how to deal with them, how to use them, because they're all internal. At least in this episode, they are going to be all internal. Internal. What is internal? Internal is, for example, where my memory is, where my perception is, where my imagination is, where my beliefs are, where my core principles are. All of those are internal, right? My skills, my coping strategies, these are internal things that are not external, not in the physical world. And because they're not in the physical world, people don't value them things. They only value the stuff we can touch, we can taste, we can hear, we can sound, we can, ah. So in this episode, it is these things that addicts might, maybe, should do on their recovery journey. In fact, I would say it's very, 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 very well advised that they do a handful, if not all of these things. All right, let's start off with the number one on the list. Number one on the list, and I've written this down on my way back from a lovely holiday that I was coming from Madrid. Beautiful. Associations is the first word that I'll go with on this. Disassociations is the second word I'll go with this, but let's start with associations. Associations is what you have associations to your substance, to your behavior addiction. What are your associations to it? On one side, you've probably got negative. On one side, you've probably got positive. And, I hate it, I hate it, I hate it, I don't want to do it, I keep doing it, but I don't want to do it. That's one side. The other side is that it relaxes me. It makes me sleep. It's kind of enjoyable. I find it comforting. It's peaceful. It's relaxed. It's confidence. This is the positive side. And the more positive associations you have, the more likelihood. And you can kind of think of it as a simplified version would be like a scoring system. You can have how much associations have you got here? How much negative associations have you got here? The trick is with this though, like all it takes is one on either side for it to win. So what I mean by that is like you could have 500,000 reasons why you should stop the substance, good reasons why you should stop the substance, but it's just one real destroying, very negative reason, and you're going to keep using it. So you got rationally, we all know you shouldn't use it. Rationally, we know you shouldn't be taking the substance. Rationally, you should stop. But that one thing inside is eating you alive. It's devastating. It's traumatizing. It's negative. It's frustrating. And that subsides and disregards all of that kind of tally system. So association, that's one word. Disassociation. Disassociation is healthy when it's healthy. It's unhealthy when it's unhealthy. How is disassociation healthy? Well, it's healthy when you have a negative feeling that's come up. Basically, like for example, let's say you were beeped at in traffic. You know, you disconnect from that. You disassociate from your judgments. So your mind starts going, "Oh my God, does he hate me? Oh my God, is he looking at me? Oh my God." You just disassociate from that. So you just disconnect from that moment there. That's very useful when it's very useful. On a bigger situation, it's very unhelpful when it's unhelpful. For example, when my dad unalived himself and I was there and I found out the news, I became like a dead fish lying in the morning. I was lying on my bed and I was like, I disassociated from reality, from everything, right? And that would be an unhealthy way of disassociating. That was a very much quote unquote bigger or grander reason for me to disassociate. So that's associations number one. Disassociations number two. What's next on the list? Well, visualization. It's a word that you would do in rehab. It's a tool that you would use. But what's the point of doing it? It's so sad. It's so sad that people don't leverage visualization. Visualization is internal. Close your eyes. Visualize yourself a week sober, a day sober, a year sober. Visualization, the brain can't tell the difference between reality and imagination. You've probably heard it 1,000 times. I know I have. So keep visualizing the reality that you want on a continuous basis. Then your nervous system starts remembering your future rather than remembering your past. And when you remember your future, you're going to have familiar feelings, and those familiar feelings then become your automatic actions. and your automatic actions give you results. That sounds, I hope, very simplistic and easy for you to understand. The idea is if I feel bad, I'm not going to take good actions. If I feel good, I'm going to take good actions. So the more I can visualize good feelings, good moments, good thoughts, the more I'm going to feel good because I'm doing that. So therefore, I'm going to take natural actions aligned with that feeling, right? So I remember my future rather than I remember my past. So visualization, incredibly powerful. People don't teach it to you. People don't know about it. People don't do it. But Cristiano Ronaldo does it. Michael Jordan did it. Kobe Bryant did it. LeBron James did it. Tiger Woods did it. Olympic athletes do it on a recurring, regular basis. It's a very normal thing. Conor McGregor does it. It's just a very normal thing. Bruce Lee's done it. Muhammad Ali's done it. It's a very normal thing that's happened. Right? Very normal. Right beside visualization, you probably heard it before. I don't know if you've heard of this one. I don't know. Let me just throw it out. I don't know if you've heard of this one. Maybe it's the word called meditating. Have you heard that? Have you heard of the word meditating? Of course, and you probably heard it several thousand times, more than visualization. Meditating. What's the point of meditating? Well, Dr. Joe Dispenza would say meditating is becoming familiar with. So what that means, you become familiar with the negative feeling, so it's less emotionally intense for you. You then also become familiar with the positive feeling. So either way of one of those that you do the meditating, wherever your mind goes in the meditation, intentional meditation, unguided meditation, guided, unguided meditation. And I would also add intentional. Intentional is you want to focus on this theme, this thought. Guided would be like wherever you want to meander towards with words in every couple of seconds. All right. So that's again internal. Both of those associations, disassociations, visualizations, meditations. Next on the list, comparisons. Comparisons. People say comparison is the thief of joy. It is. But when you compare higher than you, it's the thief of joy. When you compare lower, and I'm not saying you should do this on a recurring basis and your life should be revolved around this. I think there needs to be some guardrails. Again, you don't get taught about that. So why I'm quote unquote teaching you now is this idea of comparing to people that are in literally a war-torn country right this second. Compare yourself to someone that has this complete devastation, guilt, resentment, frustration in their life right this second, and you're not dealing with that. I'm not saying for this to be your core principle for your life. I'm saying for you to put yourself in a right and wholesome category. Not for you to conflate your challenges and delusions. When you conflate your challenges and delusions, that means you've got bigger problems than you actually do. And when you've got bigger problems than you actually do, you've got really bigger problems than you actually do. Not hyperbole, not fakely, if that's a word. Factually, you do. The more weight you give to a problem, the more weight the problem has. Right? So when we comparing upwards, you can compare positively upwards. So how did that person do it? What did they do? How can I improve? How can I be like that? That's comparing upwards, right? Comparing downwards is taking the benefits, the positives, the gratitude from where you are. Now, in the negative context of comparing upwards is, oh my God, look, I'm so much worse than that person because they're so much better than me. That's comparing negatively upwards. Comparing down is like, haha, look at them, they're really bad, they're the worst person in the world. That's compared negatively. Again, compare positively on both sides of those if you are going to compare, which is a very normal thing comparing. Another thing is judgments. Judgments is a word inside. I didn't have this on my list that I was writing down, but I'm just taking it now. Judgments. The judgments that you have. Here's a great quote that I love and love and love and love and love. Resentment is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. So much people, I thought everybody knew that, but I've asked 100 clients that, and one person has known it. One. Resentment is drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. Your judgments is the same thing. Your judgments of that person doesn't matter. It's your thoughts. You are the one that's scowling, that's muttering, that's hating, that's judging. You are the only person that's listening to those thoughts. You know? You're saying that person's a, look at that fool over there. You're the fool. You're the one who said fool in your mind. All right? You're the one polluting your own mental sphere. So that's another one on the list, judgment, that I've just added there for that moment. Next one is grieving. 7, grieving. Grieving is something you're not taught about. Grieving happens though. In some cultures in the world, grieving is a blessing. They're going to a better place. It's a celebration. In Mexico, they celebrate the dead in once a year, I believe. In India, they go to a better place. In Ireland, that's that's mad. They're gone. That's bloody mad. You know. So so grieving. We all grieve in different ways. I grieved in a way that when my dad passed away in an unhealthy way, obviously, because I became a drug addict. So terrible way to deal with grief. I've heard of a story this week as well. Someone lost their daughter. Devastating. They've lost their daughter, and consistently consuming alcohol and drugs every single day. People deal with grief in different ways, but grieving is a real thing. Again, comparing grief can be a useful thing as well. Like my dad passing away, well, you know, I know someone that has lost all of their family to unaliving themselves. Like it's been their dad, eventually mum, gone on to their sister, and they're the last one left. That's a real story. Their daughter situation, people just woke up today and some of their kids have just attacked the other kid and they both died, or they've got hit in a car crash. Three, four, five. Families died in a plane crash or a boat accident. Grieving is how you internalize something. For me, I carry this weight and I avoided it. It's not. It's in the past. I can't do anything about it. It's gone. There's nothing. These were my beliefs I had around grief. But behind those sentences were these big harrowing, devastating thoughts that I was holding on to. And until they got changed, I was trapped in addiction because I was escaping those things in the back of my mind. Yeah. So grief is something that you don't get thought about in any way, shape, or form. Projecting like judgments. Projecting like judgments. What is projecting? Projecting is the idea that, like, I hold someone in an image in my mind. I walk into a room, that person like greets me, and I then have this idea of this person in my mind, and then now they're almost in that box. So if I think that they were rude to me, I'm basically like first impressions matters, and I've projected now a solace, a full image of who they are based off 4 seconds of an interaction, and they're that type of person. So I've projected an image onto them, and that's it. Now they're boxed off in my mind. I don't need to analyze or update or change that in any way, shape, or form. Yeah, these are some various skills. I have maybe two more, three more. I mean, it's a long list. I don't know if I'm gonna get you all of them, but let's go through. Compartmentalizing, another internal skill. An internal skill, compartmentalizing. Compartmentalizing is basically where you have a situation on your hands, and for you to conflate it in your mind to make it a bigger problem, like I mentioned earlier, not a good thing. For you to diminish the problem is not a good thing either. Compartmentalizing is how can we break this problem down into what we can control, what we can't control, and then deal with what we can't control. Mental processing of compartmentalizing, breaking that thing down. See, in maths, I would never break the maths down. I would just get the answer, and I think that would be it. But when you're on recovery, you need to break it down. Because if you don't break it down, you're going to still be trapped. You're still going to have old, long-standing 5,000 thoughts collected into one belief. Yeah, and that one belief is you're the worst person in the world. And if that's the belief that you're the worst person in the world, well, you're just saying, all right, all I need to do is meditate on that, and that's great. No. You need to break down this, compartmentalize this, why you are the worst, how you are the worst, if it's true if you're the worst, and then go actually reframing that. Reframing is maybe another thing on the list as well. Reframing, different perception, different reality. I could show you 50 images of illusions, yeah, just illusions. I could show you 50, I was thinking of hallucination, but illusions. I could show you 50 photos of illusions, and you'd be, until you got told that actually there's two people in that photo rather than one person in the photo, you're always going to see it one way. And if you see it one way, you've trapped yourself into a box of thinking one way. So we always do that. We always see a thing one way and we think that's right. We've assumed that that's correct, but actually there's a million one ways to see it. There's two ways at least, there's three ways at least. So you're seeing your trauma, child's tribulations this way. And when you see it this way, then it's boxed off in your mind that way because you've assumed that was correct. Yeah, you've assumed that there wasn't two people in that illusion, but actually there was. So again, trauma be the last thing on the list. Like again, I can keep going on with more things, journaling, or maybe I'll blitz through some of those beliefs, traumas, financial skills, coping mechanisms, communication, body language. I mean, there's a whole list of things that we could delve into on a continuous basis. The last one there being trauma. Trauma is maybe a bigger word than I would have given credit to when I was an addict. I would have thought like trauma, F trauma, you know, who cares about trauma? Trauma is actually the thing that influences so much people's actions, even though they don't think it does influence their actions. Again, like I didn't think my drug use was related to my dad. I didn't think my addictions, gambling, porn, drugs, alcohol was related to my dad. I didn't think those things, but it clearly was. Yeah, clearly. Because if I didn't heal my dad's situation in my mind, I would have kept using drugs, kept escaping, kept running, kept filling. So yeah, I'm very grateful I've gone through addiction. I'm very grateful that people have over this last week said that I don't look I've gone through addiction, which is a compliment and a bad compliment at the same time. But you know, you can't win them all. All right. With that being said, again, check out the link tree in the description. It's very useful videos. There's an app that I've created as well. You can download in the App Store. Links if you want to book a call with me as well, that'd be fantastic. There is a small fee for that, no problem at all. With that being said, have a beautiful, blessed day on this beautiful, blessed day. I look forward to seeing you in the next episode. I'll see you.